Hello, welcome back to my workshop. We are on day 3 of finishing the Assassin's Creed Hidden Blade. It's tempered, it's hardened. All I have to do now is do the last finishing steps on this actual little bit of metal, this little blade. Then I have to assemble it, test it, make sure it works, and if it works properly, then I get to make a bracer, make it out of leather, and then it's done. So stick around so you can see the finishing process. Alright, so this video took a while to finish. Basically, I spent 4 constant hours trying to assemble this thing, and then I got sick with the flu. So that's why there's a bit of a delay. I'll spoil what happened. I was not able to get this thing to work properly. So basically, all that's happening right now is I'm showing you a little compilation of my attempts to assemble this thing and make it work. It took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of finicky working. I had to get new springs, I had to sand things, I had to lubricate things. This was just an absolute challenge. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the future. I will revisit this later, as I'm going to mention. I'm going to try to get this to work once I've had some more time to think about it. Try some new options. Maybe I need to try a new file or a different file, something like that. But this isn't the end for this project. I am going to try to make it work. It's just going to take a little bit of a while. You can see right there, I am struggling really hard to try to figure out why it's not working. And this specific section, I realized that I think it was that the springs themselves were like catching in that little groove because they were too big, so they weren't actually able to come out. You could stretch it, but then they wouldn't collapse. So then I tried to fix it. I did a lot of stuff here. It just didn't work. Nothing I tried worked, honestly. Um, Eventually, I did manage to get it so that that mechanism there worked, that it did actually send the blade out. But the gear tension, the spring was too hard to actually be able to pull with that little out the front mechanism there. There's a string that attaches to that gear mechanism. The springs there weren't able to actually, well, sorry, the springs were too strong that I could not actually pull it out and make those work. So eventually I'll come back to this. But I was so happy at this point. I actually managed to get it mostly working. But even as you can see there, it wasn't working the greatest. So here is my attempt at the final assembly. Once I've gotten the new springs. Actually, no, I don't think it was this one yet. I think this next little clip coming up is the final attempt. Here we go. Here's where I got the new springs. So I got I finally managed to find some smaller ones that actually fit in that groove. And it worked better. It was actually able to make the mechanism work. There was no snagging there. as you can tell, it was a little I got a little bit of practice by this point, but man, the tension on those strings is so strong, and actually managed to stretch that spring out. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll just decide to try 2 springs. I'll attach them side to side so that maybe it doesn't stretch out and, you know, get deformed permanently. But that's something I discovered later after I try this and fail multiple times. That's the thing about stuff like this, is you got to fail multiple times before you manage to succeed. But, you know, it's always a learning process. Oh, almost. Okay, it locks. All right. Let's zoom out a bit. Lock, okay. Lock. Lock. Ha-ha! Now, the big test, will it come out? Oh, that was my fault. I don't need the... Hey! Wasn't completely upright, but it's not falling down. Let's try it. If I'm holding it this way, will it? Yes! All right, all the way upright? No. It won't work all the way upright, but it does pull it back all the way, so that's cool. Hey, wait. It mostly did it. Let's try that again. Nah, that's not. You know what? I think at this point, I honestly need to get some metal parts for this, for the gear, for these little locks, and for this. And I don't know what spring needs to go here, but the forces that you need to pull in order to get this out are too much for this spring to handle. So unfortunately, I think for now, this is going to be a half-finished project. I'm happy with this. The mechanism mostly works. Mechanism mostly works. Actually, I'm confident in saying that this works. This is reliable enough that it does work. It's a little wobbly, but that's not the end of the world. It's not intended to be used. This is just a fun project. The mechanism works. It locks. It can put some pressure on it without collapsing, so shaking it does not loosen it. So, oh god, this is not how I wanted to leave the project. I wanted to finish this completely and have a working product before I moved on to something else. But I've been working on this for a month now, basically, and I'm still running into roadblocks. My skills as a blacksmith might not be good enough. My skills as in assembling this might not be good enough. There might be something flawed with the file itself, with the mechanism. I don't know. Maybe the springs I'm getting aren't good enough. I thought these ones would fit. And they do fit, but they can't contain the force it needs to actually pull the mechanism and pull the gear. So I'm going to leave it like this for now. Going to come back to it once I've done some more research, worked on other things, because I'm spending way too much time on this. But as always, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to upload this and work on my next project. Next project I was planning was actually to create another workbench right here. So I've got my nice big workbench. We got my belt grinder on it, but I wanted to make another one along that wall to put the drill press on, the bandsaw, and some more storage. So I'm going to do that as my next project. I'm going to build this, put it up, upload it. And after that, my next project from there is a plan to make something that Crash Makerspace did. He made a bulletproof piece of armor of like a chest plate that was modeled after Red Hood. Now, I want to do that. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that. That might be the next one or might be a little later. But another project I've got planned is a hand crossbow or a wrist crossbow. So, you know, one of those things, again, from games. You just click and it shoots a bolt. Never going to be strong enough to do anything with it, but I've got some ideas for how to make that pretty easily. So I'm going to work on that, I think, as my next project after this workbench. So if you don't care about the workbench, that should just be one video. It's not gonna be multi-part like the other ones, but the crossbow will be a multi-part because that's gonna take a lot of work. And I do this in my spare time. I work full time, I've got kids, so this is just my spare time. I do it when I can. But I hope you enjoy these videos. I hope you share my frustrations that thing is not completely working. It's not 100% ready to go. I will work on it later. I promise you that. But thanks for tuning in, like and subscribe, and we'll see you.